Hello Wolfpack. Now apologies if I look like a 10-year-old boy today. I've just shaved my face for the first time in about 6 months. Not a good look, I'll say that, so I'm definitely going to be growing that one back. But without further ado, let's get into the Bitcoin video. And first and foremost, I just want to say that, the bearish bat formation that we predicted here, and let's just draw this out. A bearish bat formation is a harmonic pattern, okay, and it looks something like this that we predicted here, as opposed to, I don't know why I drew this like that. Hold on, let me redraw that, guys. Hold on one second. I stuffed up the bottom a bit there. There we go. The bearish bat formation that we drew here, as opposed to the double bottom formation. Now, a lot of people were calling for a double bottom formation, and they were saying that these two bottoms here were obviously connected, and that's going to lead to a price surge above this pink resistance line to around 57k. We saw through that. It's not actually that hard to see the honest analysis once you take away the clear bullish bias, right? If you're looking at it from a perspective where you're looking for a bounce, you're looking for it to pump, you're obviously going to fall into the trap of finding things or seeing things that aren't actually there. And when you're looking at it from a perspective of lack of education on the market as well, which I'm not trying to be rude, but I think a lot of people on YouTube and Twitter, analysts on YouTube and Twitter, don't have that much of extensive knowledge in TA, right? They have a good knowledge on marketing. They know how to market their brand. They know how to do basic TA. They know how to make people hyped. But I don't think they're actual analysts. I think they're just very good at marketing. That's why they have a lot of followers. But when you're actually talking about an actual analyst like myself, I've been doing this full time for, almost 3 years now, and, pretty successful in it as well. And actually studying the charts for hours and hours per day, literally up to 10 hours a day, you can see charts like this, you can see patterns like this that other people, generally speaking, cannot see because they're not open to seeing it and they don't even know what it is, right? A bullish bat formation is pretty lesser known pattern, but essentially we're predicted, and you can go back to my video on this, literally up here, like at the top, at the pink line, we predicted this isn't going to work out. This isn't actually a double bottom formation. There were many signs for that. The volume was one of the signs. Bull market support band here was one of the signs. The fact that there was no real bullish divergence, there was no real MACD cross incoming. In fact, we actually had bearish divergence in the RSI going into this double bottom formation, right, as they would say. And so it was pretty clear this is a bearish bat formation. Now, a bearish bat formation typically leads to a price decline to the down, to kind of I don't know how to explain it, the A and C connecting line, right? We've extended that across, and that would be at around 35k, okay? So that is the first step for a bearish bat formation. Typically, then you see a little bounce back up. We could see a little resurgence, say back to 40k. We could retest 40k. We could retest this pink dashed line at, say, 39k. I think that's probably more likely. And then, typically speaking, we'd see another move downwards in kind of a three-step corrective move, right? Very basic stuff there, and that would bring us to around 30k. So that's kind of my prediction here on Bitcoin. And if it could happen very differently to that. It doesn't need to happen exactly like that. Obviously it's hard to predict exactly how the move is going to play out in terms of structure, but generally speaking, I think 30k is the target. But the first step, which I've been calling for since the top here, would be 35k for sure, and then we can see what happens from there. If we start seeing bullish divergence here at 35k, of course I'm going to change my prediction on that one. But as of right now, it is a bearish bat formation. Not really a bullish pattern at all, and it is targeting about 35k, and if you want to be a bit more expansive about that, a bit more risky about that, you could say it's targeting 30k. Now, as for indicators, technical indicators, and as you guys would know now, if you haven't watched my content before, and I know I get a lot of viewers who haven't watched my content before, I'm predicting that Bitcoin will go downwards on the weekly chart towards the 200-week SMA. There's many reasons for that. I've covered that extensively in the past. I'm not going to go into it in this video now, but I've been saying that since 58k, okay, and I've been selling out of the market since 66k and advocating for selling since that point. So I'd say it's been pretty successful so far, and just I'll briefly go into it a little bit. To quickly summarize, every time Bitcoin has lost the 50-week SMA, this red line, and the Gaussian channel, which is lost on the weekly and also the 50-week, obviously, it ends up at the 200-week SMA, okay? That's just a thing that's happened every time. It happened in 2014, happened in 2018, and it happened even in the panic of the COVID crash. We still managed to hold the 200-week. The 200-week SMA is the macro bottom zone for Bitcoin. It has been throughout the entirety of history. That's 3 occurrences, right? 2014, 2018, and obviously 2020, and so that's enough to make a trend. Now you need 3 data points to make a trend. That is a trend. The trend is going to continue because the trend is your friend until it ends. If it ends, then we can talk about other scenarios. And how will I determine when that trend is invalidated? Well, I've been saying for a long time now that we would need to close a weekly candle above the 50-week SMA to kind of invalidate that pattern. The 50-week SMA is currently sitting at 46.8k. Let's say 47k. So a weekly candle above 47k would invalidate that trend, and would invalidate that prediction of a 200-week SMA. But as of right now, I'm still predicting it. The 200-week SMA is my prediction, and this bearish bat formation that we're seeing on shorter-term time frames is just telling you guys that, hey, well, that prediction is probably going to play out. I mean, it's not even just a bearish bat formation. We're also seeing very clear here. This is very clear stuff, right? It's not rocket science. Every time we see an upwards trend, look at where I'm drawing right now. Every time we see an upwards trend, which is the green candles here, we see descending volume, sparing of this one time. But even in this one time here, we saw descending volume straight after, okay? And every time we see a downwards trend, we see ascending volume. Look at these red candles here, ascending, ascending, ascending. Look at all these ascending red candles. This means that the downwards trend, even going back all the way here, when we enter a downwards trend on Bitcoin, it is gaining momentum rapidly. When we're in an upwards trend on Bitcoin, this is ever since November, it's losing momentum rapidly, right? So there are more people willing to sell than there is willing to buy. If the price goes down, more and more people are losing faith. If the price goes up, less and less people are willing to buy back in, okay? So it's a very clear bear market pattern, right? We've seen this happen before. And another thing I want to talk about as well is the fact that, well, we've rejected from bull market support. We've had a triple top formation now, as well as a bearish bat formation on 45.5k. It's very clear to me, and I don't understand how people could argue otherwise at this point, you know, unless they get lucky, which is obviously a chance. It's very clear to me that Bitcoin is going to be dropping below 35k and creating new lows here, and probably going down to the 200 week, but that's a little bit too far. Let's say 30k is going to be coming probably this month, to be honest with you, but it could be next month. Let's see, because interest rates are coming out soon. That's on the 15th of March, so lots of volatility in the market there. Could lead to an irrational pump, could lead to a rational dump. We don't know what's going to happen there. Technical analysis doesn't work on things like that, but even on this last daily candle, we've lost the 21-week EMA, we've lost the 50-day SMA, and we've lost this downtrending pink dashed line as well. That's 3 things lost in just one daily candle close with ascending, with a kind of rising volume in the downwards trend. So, you know, it's really hard to see any kind of bullishness here, at all, basically. But I suppose the one thing we can look at, and we looked at this yesterday, we'll keep looking at it because it's a very popular chart now. And I've been speaking about this chart since Christmas time, so I'm pretty sure, I was probably one of the first people talking about this. I don't want to say it's my chart. It's not my chart, right? None of these fractals are mine. It's public. It's public knowledge, right? Anyone can look at these fractals, but I'm just saying I've been talking about this for a long time. And a lot of people would say that, hey, this fractal needs to play out. We need to go to 57k. Finally, as predicted, we're seeing a divergence from this fractal. We're dropping downwards. The fractal is being invalidated currently. Some people would say, well, why is it being invalidated? If it was so accurate in the past, why can't it continue to 57k before dropping? For the same reason it can't go to 12k, okay? Bitcoin's not going to 12k. And so for the same reason it doesn't go to 57k, you have to apply that to the downside as well. We have to be consistent with our logic and understand that, hey, these two moves here, this 12k move and this 57k move, they're too volatile. They don't apply accurately to the 2022 price action. This price action is from 2018, expanded to fit 2022 price action. So, just another example of how fractals are oftentimes misleading. But, it was amazing how long this played out for, but obviously it's invalidated now, so we can't talk about that too much anymore. But yeah, I don't think Bitcoin's going to follow this fractal anymore. I think that's over. But yeah, essentially, I guess that's the video, guys. Just wrapping it up there, because it's just to kind of show you guys that, well, we're seeing rejections. We've lost a few things on the daily channel. We've lost a few things on the daily chart. Let's look at the weekly, actually. The weekly chart looks pretty bad right now. We have 2 days into the weekly candle close, and you can just see, let's just remove everything, how big this upside wick is. Now, when you see an upside wick like this, and you don't see a close filling that wick, that suggests that there's a lot of selling momentum above you, and it basically almost certainly leads to a downwards trend following that point. So we don't want to be closing the weekly candle like that. Let's bring up a few things on the weekly to try and understand where we're sitting. We can see that, actually, let's bring that up. Volume profile here showing the POC, just looking at what we're currently looking at, right below current prices, which is good to see, a little bit of support there. So we've rejected from bull market support quite obviously, as you guys can see there. Gaussian channel we have lost if we close this weekly channel below around, let's say 43k, we will lose that Gaussian channel on the weekly chart, which is a bearish sign, okay? Because every time we lose the Gaussian channel on the weekly chart, it's very similar to the 50-week SMA. We enter a bear market, we go down to the 200-week SMA. So that's another piece of evidence there. And as for Ichimoku Cloud, we're currently just holding on to it, okay? So if we close this weekly candle below, say 37.5k, that's just another bearish sign for Bitcoin. But essentially, going back to the daily chart, let's just bring this back up here. Going back to the daily chart, the point of this video is to show you guys that this bearish bat formation has played out as predicted, and we're probably, the first target here on Bitcoin would be 35k, and then we might see a little bit of relief, and then ultimately 30k will be happening probably later this month, or maybe even early April. It really depends on what happens with interest rates. Could be a little bit unpredictable there, but that's what's going on for Bitcoin. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next video.